Rama Rama Hare Hare
Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Chant together if you wish. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udiraye shanvatam sukatha krishna punya shavana kirtana hirdanstastosya badhani vidunoti suhitsutam nashtaprayeshva badreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya Bhagavat Utama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Dear devotees, we're reading Canto 1, Chapter 17, Text 23. 1, 17, 23. Attava Deva Mayaya Nunam Gatira Gochara Cheta Sovacha Saschapi Bhutanamiti Nishchaya Atava Deva Mayaya Nunam Gatira Gochara Cheta Sovacha Saschapi Bhutanamiti Nishchaya Atava Deva Mayaya Nunam Gatira Gochara Cheta Sovacha Saschapi Bhutanamiti Nishchaya. At least one chanter. Atava Deva Mayaya Nunam Gatira Gochara Chetaso Vachataschapi Bhutanam Nishchaya. Atava Deva Mayaya Nunam Gatira Gochara Chetaso Vachataschapi Bhutanamiti Nishchaya. Atava, alternatively, Deva, the Lord, Mayayaha, energies, Nunam, very little, Agatihi, movement, Agochara, inconceivable, Chetasaha, either by the mind, Vachasaha, by words, Cha, or Api, also, Bhutanam, of all living beings, Iti, thus, Nishchayaha, concluded, Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Thus it is concluded that the Lord's energies are inconceivable. No one can estimate them by mental speculation or by word jugglery. Purport: a question may be raised as to why a devotee should refrain from identifying an actor, although he knows definitely that the Lord is the ultimate doer of everything. Knowing the ultimate doer, one should not pose himself as ignorant of the actual performer. To answer this doubt, the reply is that the Lord is also not directly responsible, for everything is done by his deputed Maya Shakti, or material energy. The material energy is always provoking doubts about the supreme authority of the Lord. The personality of religion knew perfectly well that nothing can take place without the sanction of the Supreme Lord. And still he was put into doubts by the deluding energy, and thus he refrained from mentioning the supreme cause. This doubtfulness was due to the contamination of both Kali and the material energy. The whole atmosphere of the age of Kali is magnified by the deluding energy, and the proportion of measurement is inexplicable. Om Agyana Atamirandasya Jananjana Shalakaya Chakshurul Minitam Yena Tasme Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Sarasvati Devi Gaudavani Pacharine Nidvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I offer my humble obeisances to all the assembled devotees, and headed by His Grace Vijay Prabhu, and those online, any at all. Translation: thus it is concluded that the Lord's energies are inconceivable. No one can estimate them by mental speculation or by word jugglery. Listen to one lecture in preparation for this is more on the technical side, a little bit of practical. It'll go over a bit about Swarga, or creation, primary. This is a brief synopsis. There's the Lord, Krishna, and then from there, in his Mahavishnu form, he glances over material energy, and then agitated by time. Now, at that time also, the jiva is injected, and then Prakriti takes a visible form known as a Mahat Tattva. That's what we all see, this body and its senses, its objects, mind, intelligence, false ego, the various modes of material nature. And then from there, Garbhotakashai Vishnu, he then creates Lord Brahma from his navel. And then this is called Visarga. This is secondary creation. Now, the reason why this was brought up is because in the purport, it mentions the ultimate doer of everything. Karta Shai, Karta means the doer, the prime mover. It states here in the purport, everything is done by his deputed Maya Shakti, or material energy. Let's move to one verse in the Bhagavad Gita to support this statement by Srila Prabhupada. Chapter 13, text 22. Purusha prakritisto hi bhumte prakriti jangunan karanam guna sangosya sad asad yoni janmasu. As it's the blame game here. That's what's happening, right? In basic terms. Should you blame someone for my misfortune or not? And here it's stated that one should not. So, and I'll go into another verse that makes it really clear as to why one should not, if they are wise. Translation: the living entity in material nature thus follows the ways of life, enjoying the three modes of nature. This is due to his association with that material nature. Thus he meets with good and evil among various species. It's not too long a purport. This verse is very important for an understanding of how the living entities transmigrate from one body to another. It is explained in the second chapter that the living entity is transmigrating from one body to another, just as one changes dress. This is in 220. As long as he is captivated by this false manifestation, he has to continue transmigrating from one body to another. Oh, just stop here real quick. Why is this important? As long as he is captivated by this false manifestation, he has to continue transmigrating from one body to another. This means that the living entity doesn't take self-responsibility. If one is blaming others, then he's caught in, which I'll read now and then come back, inspired by His Grace Pavan Sarovar Prabhu, as we discussed the other day. 11:28:1. Translation: the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, one should neither praise nor criticize the conditioned nature and activities of other persons. Rather, one should see this world as simply the combination of material nature and the enjoying souls, all based on the one absolute truth. There's a whole purport there. If we have enough time, I'll go into it. I'll just read 1-3 for now. Whoever indulges in praising or criticizing the qualities and behavior of others will quickly become deviated from his own best interest by his entanglement in illusory dualities. 3. Just as the embodied spirit soul loses external consciousness when his senses are overcome by the illusion of dreaming or the death-like state of deep sleep, so a person experiences material duality, must encounter illusion and death. Here in one purport. The material senses are described here as tejasa because they are born of false ego in the mode of passion. Impelled by false ego, one dreams of the material world without the personality of Godhead and makes plans to lord it over nature, to exploit her resources. Modern atheistic scientists have developed this false ego to a fine art and imagine themselves great heroes conquering the obstacles of nature and moving forward toward inevitable omniscience. Omniscience means, in theory at least, to know everything. Such dream materialists are repeatedly stunned by the crushing reactions of the laws of nature, and their arrogant, agnostic civilizations are repeatedly annihilated. This will sound familiar. By world wars, natural disasters, and violent shifts of the cosmic situation. On a simpler level, all conditioned souls are captivated by sex attraction and thus bound to the illusion of material society, friendship, and love. They imagine themselves to be wonderful enjoyers of the material nature, which suddenly turns against them and kills them, just like the tamed animal that suddenly turns on its master and kills him. Now, a few things might be raised here. Why not blame others? It's clearly I didn't do anything, but this person is causing me some anxiety in one form or the other. Because the immediate answer is we've done it to ourselves. And the example is Prabhupada gives often is the prison house. Now, one who has a very selfish mindset will be in a prison cell and think the ward is responsible for me. He's keeping me in here, giving me this bland food and only an hour of yard time. They call it the yard. They get to go outside and see fresh air and so forth, if they're good behavior. And this ward is responsible for my captivity here. But is it the ward or not? No, it's the criminal activities that were done before. And Prabhupada would often say that so many things we have forgotten. Just imagine this day, July 6th, Sunday, 7:35 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 1 year ago. Can we even remember that? What to speak of previous lives? Therefore, the wise entity accepts everything materially categorized as good and bad as mercy of the Lord meant to refine character. And this creates a very positive and progressive situation. Now the individual doesn't become overcome by lamentation and hankering, the two primary symptoms of one engaged or entangled in material dualities, Icha and Dvesha, desire and hate. Back to this purport. Due to his desire to lord it over material nature, he is put into such undesirable circumstances. Under the influence of material desire, the entity is born sometimes as a demigod, sometimes as a man, sometimes as a beast, as a bird, as a worm, as an aquatic, a saintly man, as a bug. It's all about, here, pause. It's all about one's position. For the rat, the cat, or the snake is an enemy. But for a human being, a domesticated cat is a sense of a check for pest control. And like this, one is considering someone a friend and an enemy based on their position. And therefore, if we can analyze this whole Krishna consciousness movement is based on evolving or rectifying one's conception. We call it International Society for Krishna Consciousness. The conception, according to dictionary, I'll read, make it relevant. A past participle stem of concipere, or to take in and hold. In the Merriam-Webster, it's the sum total of one's beliefs. Therefore, the Krishna conscious movement is really aimed at transforming that base conception of what is reality. One thing in book distribution, this was when Kautakana Prabhu and I went to Santa Clara DMV. One thing that the Bhagavad Gita does in the various practices of Bhakti Yoga is it allows one to at least intermittently experience and see clearly what is the absolute reality. And if one can do that regularly, then one is not overcome by the dualities of this world. The example that's been given by some is if two people walk in the garden and they have the same garden, the same time period, everything. They'll have completely different experiences based on how they perceive and interpret something. Now, one person might think negative. I saw mosquitoes, the world's deadliest insect, and it was overcast and it was muddy. It was a terrible experience. Another person might walk through and say, I saw a beautiful rainbow piercing through the clouds and the sun was just extending its rays. And there was a beautiful butterfly in the flowers. Now it's the same path. The only difference is one perceives or conceives of something, means to take in and hold it. and interprets. These are the two main things that the Krishna consciousness does. Changes how one perceives and interprets what is happening. Now, how is this relevant to here? Because if one is perceiving someone as an enemy and friend, then naturally the blame game will follow. And this is characterized by the victim mentality and rectified by one way is through His Grace Vaisheshika Maharaj's book, 4 Questions. What is the lesson? If one puts their learning hat on, so to say, then they become a student, and everything becomes a sense of impetus to learn and progress on the path of righteousness. Let's finish off with 1322 and then I'll come back to this. This is going on, and in all cases the living entity thinks himself to be the master of his circumstances, yet he is under the influence of material nature. How he is put into such bodies, different bodies, is explained here. It is due to association with the different modes of nature. One has to rise, therefore, above the 3 material modes and become situated in the transcendental position. That is called Krishna consciousness. In the 9th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada states that this Krishna consciousness is actually a redevelopment of one's faith in Krishna. The whole bhakti yoga process is this. And we know one may know from Shraddha is coming where one places their heart. So to where is one placing their heart? Unless one is situated in Krishna consciousness, his material consciousness will oblige him to transfer from one body to another because he has material desires since time immemorial. But he has to change that conception. Again, conception is used here. That change can be effected only by hearing from authoritative sources, as everyone's hearing something or other, what to hear and whom to hear from. The best example here is here. Arjuna is hearing the science of God from Krishna. The living entity, if he submits to this hearing process, will lose his long-cherished desire to dominate material nature. And gradually and proportionately, as he reduces his long desire to dominate, he comes to enjoy spiritual happiness. In a Vedic mantra, it is said that as he becomes learned in association with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he proportionately relishes his eternal blissful life. Concentrated bliss, as we were reading on the way to our Sangha. This sounds really nice. Let's come back to this, our original purport. The personality of religion knew perfectly well that nothing can take place without the sanction of the Supreme Lord. And still, he was put into doubts by the deluding energy. The deluding energy is characterized by covering and throwing. These are 2 potencies. We get thrown into a specific situation, and one's real knowledge gets covered. Chaya, by the shadow of the Lord. And thus he refrained from mentioning the supreme cause. Indirectly, Krishna is the ultimate doer in the sense, but it's, as it's stated in the other purport, we oblige, and I'm saying we in general, the living entities oblige the Lord to create this material creation in an effort to exercise one's free will of desire, the mundane desire. And just because as one has forgotten this since time immemorial, doesn't mean that that's not the cause. And sometimes it can be a little confusing, but it's mentioned, Ishwara Parama Krishna Sachit Ananda Vigraha Anadid Adid Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. He's actually the cause of all causes. So then he's also the cause of my misfortune? No, Prabhupada would often give this example that the prison house is created again and existing only because of the criminalistic behavior. And if everyone was law-abiding citizen, then it'd be unoccupied. No inhabitants would be there. This doubtfulness was due to the contamination of both Kali and the material energy. The whole atmosphere of the age of Kali is magnified by the diluting energy, and the proportion of measurement is inexplicable. In this regard, I'll mention this as a case study. When we were Friday, when we were at the Foster City for the July parade, I saw one gentleman. He looks like a priest. He was dressed with all black. He had a big necklace and a cross. And I just wondering who he was. So I asked someone in his group. I said, "Is he a priest?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Okay. What kind of priest?" He said, "He's a Christian priest." I said, "Oh, great." I was planning to offer the whole group books. We were walking around, Prabhu and I. And that was my original intention. However, one of the ladies, they're a group of Egyptians, materially, she started asking questions about what we were doing. So I told her a little bit, and so she started giving the philosophy of the Bible and so forth. And she spoke limited English, so she called the priest over here to translate. So he immediately became very defensive. What do you have there? He was asking. What book is that? Who wrote it? Who's your God? He started questioning all these things. So I kindly told him about it, the philosophy, and how you all call the great fall or the cardinal sin is disobedience. And the living entity from its pure, uncontaminated states at a certain time had a desire to enjoy. And then because of that desire to enjoy separately from the Lord, it gets cast into a material body and a material atmosphere and suffers, hopefully enough to want to rectify their position. And this is where the codes of law are given, or the different dharmas in the form of the Bible, the Quran, the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. And this is a way to decrease one's suffering and simultaneously attain perfection through following rigidly. And as one does that, you all call it the promised land. One regains the promised land. We call it Vaikuntha here in our philosophy. And he said, did the priest, he told him, if you say that the individual was impure desire, and then they get maybe put into a dog body or a cat body, then how does that desire get purified? I said, well, we call it Uttamam Pavitram, that one of the aspects of the Lord is he's the supreme pure. He's the purest of the pure. And for anyone who's sincerely practicing, that individual becomes purified by grace. I said, now we have the same philosophy, this book and your book, Bible. The only difference is that you think Lord Christ can only through Lord Christ that can be done. What we say is there are many saints actually walking amongst us now and before, and will continue. There will be some. And they are thoroughly qualified also to deliver. And I said, respectfully, this book, Bhagavad Gita, it predates your Bible. And they both said, you should read the Bible very seriously. I said, that's okay. I said, but if I do that, you must also read the Bhagavad Gita wholeheartedly, because it's not fair if only I read and you just stay with that. And they didn't. He went away, he just left, and she became quiet. And the reason I bring this up is because, again, if there's an incomplete understanding, then one will not be able to understand how the soul is transmigrating. In the Bible, they think there's this life, death, judgment, done. But even the same person can accept 3 lives, at least, coming from somewhere, this life, going somewhere. 3 lives, minimum. Anyways, this creates a problem and not knowing how exactly it's working. It means material nature powered by spiritual energy originally, and then manifested in various ways to suit each desire that the living entity has. One Maharaj was saying there's 8,400,000 different dharmas that one can follow. Which dharma does one follow? That is our choice. I'll just do a short recap. Thus it is concluded that the Lord's energies are inconceivable. No one can estimate them by mental speculation or by word jugglery. When something is inconceivable, Prabhupada suggests that to simply submit oneself to it. And because the Lord is infinite, he can reveal himself to the finite. That's called mercy. Don't blame others. Accept everything good and bad. Otherwise, one gets caught in the dualities of the material world that are illusory and meant to continue to entangle one. Instead, one is advised to take responsibility for their actions, that which they can remember and those that they cannot. And then this turns into a sense of appreciation, actually, a sense of gratitude that, okay, let me finish my business here in this life. As one does this, then they experience concentrated bliss. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Inquiries, reflections, and challenges in a friendly manner. Can now accept. Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to point that for whatever circumstance we're in, we find our character. Yesterday I had also an experience with Krishna. He was one of the, he was like, why are you following the Bhagavad Gita? And I said, give me the absolute truth.
Mm.
And he was a homeless guy.
Mm.
You know, real dirty, you know. And then he said, well, I tried to read the Bhagavad Gita. So that's the problem. He tried. He didn't read the whole Bhagavad Gita. Mm. And yeah, then I understood he was, you know, he's Christian. So generally with Christians, I just try to get rid of them as soon as I can.
Yeah.
But I could have been a little more friendly. Mm. And I just said, well, you know, nice talking. But he didn't like it. He wanted more.
Yeah.
He wanted to talk.
Yeah.
The problem with the parks and the homeless people come, they want to talk.
Yes.
So he just sat and he just started, he wanted to disturb my sales. Mm-hmm. So he was real loud. Real loud. I couldn't fathom it impossible to do books. They called the police. Mm. And he wasn't doing anything illegal. It was just loud. Mm. Which actually, I told him, actually, it's disturbing the peace. Mm. Which is, you know, if you're too loud, it's illegal. It's disturbing the peace. And everybody that walked by it like, wow, what's wrong with that guy? Mm. So then the police came and talked, and then they, you know, he calmed down, and then they left, and again, loud. Then I called the police again. They came back. They're talking to him. But then he left. But I think if I would have been more, if I would have been a little kinder with him, he would have left a little bit without it. Because I kind of gave him cold shoulder, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I could have been friendlier, and that because he went on for an hour. Shouting and loud.
Mm.
So I could have been, in circumstances like this, it gives opportunity to refine our consciousness. Reversals will happen.
Mm.
So Krishna taught me something. I have to learn to be even in a situation like that. One of the most difficult is dealing with Christians.
Yeah.
Because they could be pretty fanatical.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that point.
Thank you.
Teaching me you gotta be more friendly in all circumstances.
Mm.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, bro.
But I just got confused. And there's 3 lives, like one.
If for those that don't believe in transmigration of the soul over many lifetimes, it's easy to, maybe not easy, I'll explain it as Maharaj explained. If we were coming from a clean slate theory, then babies would not have dreams. What are they dreaming about? No memories, 0 memory. So there's a previous life, that's one, okay? And this life right now, and then this spirit has to move again to another life or dimension, whatever you want to call it. That's 3 minimum. Any open-minded spiritualist can accept this. 3 lives minimum. Yes.
From 1128 to it mentions whoever indulges in praising or criticizing the qualities and behaviors of others will quickly become deviated from his own best interest by his entanglement in illusory dualities. So we do engage in praising others.
Yes.
And sometimes criticizing.
And sometimes criticizing.
So how do we understand?
Yeah, on the material platform, that's what it's talking about. And then there's spiritual, right? Even there's your Guru Maharaj's affirmations, right? I look for and appreciate the good qualities in others. I go out of my way to encourage myself and others. It means that if we see through the eyes of Shastra, it's not mundane. Jnana Chakshu or Shastra Chakshu. One is, the example is also given that 2 men are doing seemingly the same thing, but one's on the spiritual platform and one's on the material platform. One is entangling and one is liberating. That's the difference. So one must, if it's recommended, that one be cognizant of the spirituality. And ultimately, what is the praise for? Is to encourage them to continue on their spiritual path, or to help them be inspired to realize that to get on the spiritual path. So doing this from a deeper sense of understanding, not mundane. Oh, that was great. Yeah, you're amazing. Not like that, just lip service, but carefully selected and thoughtful compliments, specifically those that are spiritually encouraging and that we want to cultivate in ourselves. It's like I'm doing this for my own purification, actually. This praise is coming from, and the criticism will let it be my own criticism. And this was also, Prabhu inspired this one also. I really like it. It's a verse for the heart. Carry. This was in regards to the same thing. Criticizing Vaishnavas, good or bad. Once, some devotees were sent to establish a preaching center in Bengal. They worked day and night, equipping it as a beautiful temple. When Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati arrived to install the deities, he was very pleased. and asked about one brahmachari who had worked hard on the preparations. The disciples told him, "Master, he became entangled with a lady. We rebuked him so much for his behavior that he fled from this place." Srila Bhaktisiddhanta replied, "I don't want to establish a preaching center here, nor do I want to install the deities. In this world, we spend hundreds of gallons of blood to bring a person out of the clutches of Maya. If that person makes some mistake, it will be washed away by his serving Hari, Guru, and Vaishnavas. But you have chastised him, and he has gone away. I don't want to make a center here. Search for him and bring him to me. Otherwise, I will go away." The anxious disciples began to search for that brahmachari, Madhava Maharaj, who at that time was named Hayagriva Brahmachari, found the errant brahmachari, apologized, and asked him to return. The brahmachari wept, saying, "I was serving here in a watch company, but I was not really happy. I wanted to return, but I was thinking, how can I show my face? So I did not return." He at once went running and weeping to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, thinking him more merciful than Krishna himself, and all his anarthas were washed away in a moment. And it goes on to quote the verses that I read earlier. The deeper sense of understanding on the spiritual platform, and be very articulate and very particular about this deep purpose of the praise. What is it for? What is the desired result? And always remember, everything is created spiritual. Otherwise, mundane praise and criticism, it entangles one, as the purport says there, in dualities.
That makes sense.
Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Ādināth Krishna Prabhu ki jai.